Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Right now we have a really beautiful, strong and coherent energy present. We have 48 hours, a 2-day window of really incredible energy. You've heard about 1111 portal. So I want to talk a little bit today about this interesting energy, what makes this today so special, and what it is all about. I want to give you 5 things to focus on, what you may feel these days and how to use this energy. So firstly, there's something I wrote today for our Instagram community that goes like this. If these days you feel a bit more dreamy due to the present and very coherent energy, it will be much easier to visualize and focus on certain things you would like to create or attract into your life. Devote some time to writing about how you want your future to be, visualize it, and ponder what it may take to get there with the greatest possible joy, which is something we often miss when we're thinking about our future goals. Because isn't it true that it's supposed to be the greatest possible joy getting to where we want to be, right? I want to make my life as joyful as possible, so when I'm designing my goals for the future, I want to make the journey as joyful as possible, because otherwise even reaching those goals has not much value, right? So make sure that you ask the right questions, because valuable questions will reveal valuable answers that may lead to valuable action. So it is a sense of a call for change in an area of your lifestyle that requires it to align with the potential future. So whatever part of your lifestyle require a certain amount of, let's say, an upgrade, think about it. How to make it happen, because this coherent energy, what it means, coherent energy is a really well synchronized energy, a well flowy energy. You can imagine it as an ocean that is quite gentle, quite calm, and you can see reflections on it really easily. That's a coherent energy. So it's a bit slower energy, that's why we may feel a bit more dreamy this time. But if you plug into it, you can easily wander with it. This energy is to me really familiar because I'm an artist, and when I'm creating and I'm diving into ideas and visions that I'm putting together for my artwork, it's a sense of daydreaming, but at the same time you have a sense of responsibility for taking action with it, because you always know that if you will actually do something with it, you will dive into a creative process that is filled with joy and awe for, its production. So that's how we may feel when we plug ourselves to this energy. So the challenging part about this energy is that we may easily distract ourselves from it, and we may easily feel kind of poisoned with anything that is not in alignment with us. So it's great if we protect our energies during these times a little bit more, and we stay focused on what we want to attract into our lives. What's unique about this year's portal of 1111 is that it's charged with number 7. And 7 is like the number of the brain. It holds incredible power of potential, but can be used only when it is honored, respected, and well investigated. Or in other words, well understood, like our brain. If we have a lack of understanding of our brain, we may soon be victimized by the lack of its certain functioning. But if we actually investigate our brain and really wonder and study how uniquely we are functioning, what kind of nutrition we are needing, what kind of habits we need in our daily life to make the most out of our unique brain functioning, and what kind of, like I said, activities and action and books and information can actually empower our brain, make more blood flow in certain areas of the brain that was lacking it, we can actually make so much out of it. Dr. Daniel Amen is talking a lot about this. He wrote so many great books to study about it. So number 7 has this incredible energy that invites us into a deeper investigation of whatever we feel interested about. So when 1111 is charged with number 7, as today, actually this year, due to 2023, we have number 7 out of it. It means that your life is inviting you into a deeper investigation of the life you want to live, because we all know until now that most of the time we are driven by our memories. So most of our life is a repetition of our past. If we look into how we are living, we may recognize we are repeating the old stories. We're repeating what we've heard from our parents. In our DNA, for example, there's a repetition of the genes from our ancestors. So everything is about repetition. And when it comes to transformation, it comes to an ability to create a new story, to investigate a vision of the future until it becomes such a strong memory in your mind that you start building your life around the memory from your future rather than the memory from your past. That's why 1111 brings us this opportunity to be a visionary, to be a master imager, a master manifester, as number 11 is called in numerology, intuitive imager. It's well approachable, well friendly, warm, genuine, and welcoming. So it brings us this sensation to be open-minded, to be approachable. Okay, this is what I want to change. This is where I need to, clean some toxins from my body. This is what kind of diet I want to practice for the next few months, maybe especially right now, as many of us are moving into this winter period, a great time for cleansing and reflecting a little bit on the changes we want to make for the next season, right? So it's friendly, warm energy. It allows us to slow down a little bit and become more aware of how we are feeling, how we are doing. What are the parts of us that are still kind of blocking us or making us feel uncomfortable, making us feel anxious or stressed or afraid because of certain reasons? And just approach these things and recognize what story of the past is reawakening this energy. So we can design a new story, a new vision, something to live by. And if you have this great vision for the future, it will inspire you to take great action. But you really need to investigate it, right? You need to bring this energy of number 7. You need to investigate that future, study it, read about it, For example, if you're dealing with a certain thing you want to heal and you're getting into certain alternative methods for healing, we all know that we feel more empowered when we read stories from people who did or experienced a certain success with certain type of healing. That's how we start investigating more possibilities about the potential we want to experience. For me, in the past, when I was working on financial freedom, I was reading many stories about people who have changed their lives financially in such an incredible way, and it inspired me to take the right action. So I was joyful about doing that because I knew that it's possible. I've heard people did it, so I know it's possible for me as well. It would not be possible if I would cling to the stories of my parents, for example, who said that you can't make a living as an artist. You need to find a job. You need to do certain things in certain ways. And I said, well, I don't believe that. I've heard too much to believe this limiting idea, right? So only when we start honoring a possibility, when we start respecting a possibility by investigating it, we start understanding it, right? So it requires balance between logic and spirit. So spirit is like this playful force that wants us to play, that wants us to research, be in awe and reverence for life. But then logic is this part of us that needs some proofs that needs some science that it's possible, right? And when we balance these two parts of us, we walk in alignment. And that's what this today portal is really reminding you, to walk in alignment. Don't be just all spiritual about life, but also get into the logical part, like how it works. There's a lot of science behind spirituality nowadays, and it's beautiful. And if we investigate it, we also start trusting our own capacities more. So sometimes when we lack this openness, we may fall into disbelief, right? We stop believing. We lose a sense of faith that is important for the transformation we are intending to move, right? So to be open-minded means that we have well-balanced life between spirit, being spiritual, walking in spirit. And to me, spirit is life, being alive, and doing what makes us feel alive without attachments. And logic then is having some knowledge about details, why it feels like that, and how everything works, understanding of how this life is functioning. And it can get us into a bunch of different fields of knowledge, so we can back up what we feel, right? Back up why something happened the way it happened, so we can recognize what's maybe the formula behind it, so we can also explain it to someone else, like why it's possible that someone is living an incredible life filled with joy and health and prosperity, and someone else is working so hard and is not being able to experience that. When you gain logic behind how that person can live such an incredible, beautiful, blissful life, you can explain it to a person who is struggling with that, right? So this balance is really important. So 5 things that I want to give you for this time is, firstly, honor the intuition that you feel. This time you really feel it. And intuition to me is this timeless memory from all timelines or all lifetimes we've been through that is navigating our soul evolution. Intuition is this feeling that we feel when we sense a deep calling for something, or when we deeply sense that something is fishy, that something, is maybe not the right thing to do. It is not a fearful sensation. It's more like a sense of integrity. It's a gentle sensation. But if it leads to growth, then it's intuition. If it leads into more fear, then most probably it's a certain limiting story you've started repeating to yourself. It's usually the first sensation we feel when we want to do something new. Then comes a story and fear. But intuition is that first sensation. That's why they always say, what do you feel without thinking about what you feel, right? What do you feel before you even start thinking about it? What do you feel about that person before you start thinking about that person? That's how you access your intuition. If you meditate, it's much easier because you kind of detach from this thinking brain and you get into this deeper state of feeling. The second thing is to work on acceptance and release these 2 days. Really focus on what is the thing you still can't accept in your life and you're kind of in fight with it. It's present while you can't do anything about it. So can you just accept it? Can you just say, I'm okay with it? It doesn't mean you will not change anything. It just means that you stop fighting with it. And with that, you also release any tension you had towards it. Then you can focus on the future, on something you're creating. And you invest a little bit more of your energy into it, and it can awaken a lot of joy within your heart. And as you start generating more of this joy, you may also start wondering how to get there, what to do, what are the things you can start doing today, and so on and so on. So accept and release. The third thing I want to remind you is to be led by a vision. That's something I mentioned before, but I just want to remind you of that because sometimes we don't know how to implement it into our daily life. So how I'm doing it? For example, when I wake up, I start the day with a meditation. And it takes me some time that I calm down my body and I calm down my brain, my mind, my nervous system. And I just allow my body to relax and to get into that calm state. And then I have a practice of visualization where I'm visualizing certain things I'm working on right now. And then I in tune with that vision so I can feel it. I wonder, how would it feel like if it would be already present? Now, I don't need to wonder anymore because it became so natural. I can easily feel my future. And I know that my present life is actually not how it is. It's more like a reflection of my past. What I'm experiencing today is more like a reflection of my past, manifestation of my past actions, my past energy. And what I'm creating today with today's energy is designing my future that is about to manifest. And once we understand that, we stop being so frustrated when things are not working because what we are seeing is truly a reflection of the past. And what we are working on is what is about to happen. That's why it's so important to not be frustrated with what you have, but rather focus on what you're working on and flowing with the changes and embracing this stream of whatever is finding you, because whatever is finding you is meant to find you, to make a character out of you that can maintain that future you're working on, that manifestation you're working on. It is building within you a sense of flexibility, a sense of resilience, a sense of focus and discipline, but also for you to learn to be even more present. When you're struggling with something, when you're worried about something, it's because your mind is wandering. And we need to learn to be much more present often so we can actually take it easy when it's necessary, right? There's an old Zen story when a kid comes to a master and he asked him, "Master, how do you put enlightenment into the action? How do you realize it in your daily life?" And Master replies, "The way that you eat and sleep." And kid is wondering but the Master, because everyone is doing that, how so? And he said, "But not everyone eats when he's eating and not everyone sleeps when he's sleeping." He reminded us that, so often we are eating, but our mind is somewhere else. And so often we are trying to sleep, but actually we are thinking and wondering and we can't sleep and we are stressed out and depressed and so many other things, right? So the point is that we learn to align ourselves with the present moment, with doing what we are doing, being what we are being, and learning to really be grounded in the moment, right? And it's not an easy thing, especially when we're dealing with depression or some heaviness. Something heavy may be happening in our lives. That's why meditation can be so helpful, especially when we meditate on acceptance, when we're not trying to change anything. We are just in tuning with the body, whatever we feel. Sometimes I just sit down I don't set any timer or anything. I just sit down and I just feel whatever I feel. If my mind is filled with thoughts, I will just allow myself to think until at some point I will become tired of thinking and I will become present. And sometimes it takes me 1 hour to become really, really present. But once I come to that place of the present moment, my body just relaxes and something releases within me. And when we feel like there's too much of activity in our lives and too much of stress and everything that's going on. Sometimes we just need to sit in quietness without any impulses. In nature, it's even more powerful if you're not distracted with anything. Sometimes we just need that. So we notice how much we've been truly victims of our own way of thinking, of the stress, of whatever triggered us, and so on and so on. And I'm talking about this because, as I mentioned, this energy is really coherent, it's gentle, it's beautiful, it's peaceful. And sometimes we just need to relax ourselves to feel it, to sense it, and to recognize that we are deeply supported, which is the fourth thing I wanted to give you, that you are deeply supported. And you can access this support anytime. I got this sense of there's no limits, how the support is finding you. So you're deeply supported, and you can access this support anytime. It will come to you, if you're meditating, it will come to you as a gentle sense or a gentle voice. Depends on what senses are more evolved within you. If you're not so familiar with that, it will come through videos, through books, through people, and so on. So support always finds you. The problem is that we're too attached to ideas how it's supposed to find us, how it should find us. So we miss what is actually finding us, and sometimes we miss the message, right? And the last thing I want to give you is, due to 1111 portal and this energy, your third eye is more active. That's why 11 number is also called as intuitive imager. When, for example, when you close your eyes, it's much easier to daydream, to awaken your inner eye and make it more active, to allow yourself to see the truth of how you want to live your life. Because we've been too bombarded with ideas of how we should live and what is real and what's not real and, whatever. But we actually have to develop our own way of thinking that is the most natural to us, that is the most beneficial and fulfilling and meaningful to us. And you can only do it if you become a friend to yourself and you learn to create let's say a relationship, a wonderful relationship with your inner quietness, until you recognize that you are that quietness, and whatever is poisoning that quietness is not you, it's not yours, it's coming from somewhere. And it doesn't mean that wherever it's coming from is bad, it's just your choice to be identified by it, it's your choice to be poisoned by it, or you want to stay in that purity. And that's where authenticity is being born, right? When you start walking in that quietness, in that purity, you decide how you want to live your life. And that purity it's really, if you connect with it, it's a sensation of righteousness, it's a sensation of care, it's kind. This inner purity feels really, really connected. So when we are pure, when we are walking from this state, we don't want to harm someone. We don't want to be mean towards someone. When we are like that, it means that we don't have capacity to be kind. If we don't have capacity to be kind, there's something we need to do, right? We need to deal with ourselves. We need to deal with anger. We need to channel it. We need to let it go. We need to, break it free with whatever work that can help us, like therapy, workout, running, whatever, to free that energy. So once again, we can access that purity so we can walk in it. It's not thinking ourselves into being kind and positive and so on. It's accessing the quietness in which we can give birth to any idea, any vision, any dream, anything that we want to make possible in our lives. And these 2 days can really help you to become much better in this, let's say, state of being, to become more familiar with this state of being. So connect with it, my friend. I hope you found something valuable today. I'm sharing with you today the painting Infinite Potential, as it is deeply connected to today's message. So I hope you found something valuable, my friend. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. It helps to bring this message to more people. Thank you so much for your support. To anyone who would love to support my art, you can find the link in the description of this video. Go there and check it out. And till next time, one love.